This episode is brought to you by Carrasco Cantina, a local real estate firm located in the state of New Jersey. They're here to help you with all your real estate needs. What's going on? Welcome to Let's Talk About It, your favorite mortgage advisor, Jimmy Mortgage. I'm here with a special guest. His name is Ramel New Worlds. He's coming from Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
We're both from Brooklyn. I'm
Yes,
from
sir.
Flatbush, Midwood area. You're from Bed-Stuy. When it comes to financial expertise, Ramel is always dialing in and talking about what life is like, how you can do things with the compound of money when you use it for your benefit, and how he's helped many through his class teaching entrepreneurs on how to grow their business. Ramel, welcome to Let's Talk About It, brother.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
I'm happy you're here, man. I'm happy you're here, man.
Yes, sir.
So Ramel, man, tell me, what's this mailbox self-storage business? Tap into it. What is that all about?
Yeah, so, you think about the public storages, the
Right.
extra space, the Cube Smarts. Those are big corporate companies, REITs, right?
Right.
So I bought independent, small mom and pop self-storage businesses.
Okay.
The ones that you might drive past and it says Jimmy's self-storage, right?
Okay.
A mom and pop owner who owned it for 20 years, small, independent. We buy those facilities, the entire facility, and we rent out each unit.
Okay.
And then the mailbox store is, when you think about UPS or FedEx, you go and you ship off packages, or you may have physical mailboxes where you rent per month to be at a store, packages or mail that comes in. You have an address for a business.
Right.
Those are called mailbox stores.
Okay.
So I specialize in buying self-storage businesses and mailbox stores and other businesses. Overall, just simple, boring businesses that makes a lot of money.
Right.
That your face don't got to be attached to it.
Right.
And really, it's just a business that's in high demand.
What made you get into it, man?
So I've been in real estate 12 years.
Right.
12 years. Yep. I started out single families, duplexes, and I would buy all of these properties. I would put tenants in there. My goal was to just make a bunch of cash flow.
Right.
I was reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was, all of these different books, and I just wanted to make a lot of money passively in real estate. And unfortunately, I had about 40 plus properties, and then the pandemic happened.
Right.
So, a lot of tenants lost their jobs and they wasn't able to pay their rent. I wasn't able to evict them due to monetary reasons because the eviction ban.
Eviction ban, right.
So I was really just house rich, but cash poor.
Cash poor, right,
So
right.
I had a lot of equity in these properties, but I wasn't making no money. And I had just quit my job. I had a son now, right? So I'm like, man, I got a son. I quit my job.
The pressure was on.
The pressure's on,
Right,
but my
right, right.
portfolio not performing.
Right.
And that's when I started to just, okay, let me pivot. And I started selling off a lot of my properties. And at that time, interest rates were super low. So people was just paying like $20,000, $30,000 over asking price. That was like in like just crazy times, right?
It was definitely crazy
And
times.
one property in particular, it was a tenant in there, and I had a buyer that was looking to pay me $20,000 more than what I was listed for. He just wanted the property to be delivered vacant.
Right.
So I went to the tenant and I said, hey, look, I need you to get out of here. I don't care what you owe me. Here goes some cash for keys, right?
Right,
So I
right,
gave
cash
him
for keys,
$2,000. And he said, deal, I just need you to put my items in a storage unit for 90 days and like we got a deal.
Right.
I said, let's make it happen.
Right.
I started looking for storage units in my area. Every single storage unit was sold out. I'm talking about waiting lists. I'm going to the next county over, the next county. Every single storage unit.
Wow.
I couldn't find nothing.
Okay.
So that's when the light bulb went off. I said, look, what's going on this side of the business? Why is every single storage unit? Because I never thought about it, right?
I was something you wake up, you think about.
Yeah,
Right.
You don't think about buying a storage facility,
Right.
So once I was exposed to it in that way, that's when I started YouTubing, Googling, and going down this search of like learning a business.
Google does a good job keeping you in that formula.
Yeah, just going down that path.
That algorithm helps a lot.
I ended up finding a mastermind. I paid $50,000. I flew out to Arizona. I joined this mastermind, and it was hundreds of people out there buying storage, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, people raising 4 million. I just blew my mind. I'm like, whoa, like, this is the business that I need to be into. So that property that I sold, my profits I used to buy my very first self-storage business. This is back in 2021.
Wow. Your story resonates well because I don't know if you know, her name is Cody Sanchez.
Yes.
She talked about a business that no one thought of, but they make a lot of money from it. The porta potties. I didn't know you could make that much money when you put in porta potties in these public places. How much money these guys are making from that stuff, right? You wouldn't think about it because it's nasty. It's not something you're comfortable playing with. But at the same time, people got to use the bathroom, right? And so this is a good thing to put money in because you're gonna monetize that, right? Wherever you're doing something venue outside, people always use a porta potty, and you can make that much money from it. And going back to your idea again, not your idea, but what you saw when you was going through that rabbit hole of the storage business, you saw how much the power of buying one storage unit can make money for others, and you were like, yo, I gotta teach this, man. This is a no-brainer, right? Yeah. So what are some of the when you're bringing on students and you're helping educate about that, what are some of the resistance points that some fear of when you talk about making money from the storage space? I
think the misconception about getting into the storage business is people think they need a bunch of money. Okay. They think they need a bunch of money and need the 800 credit score because that's the perception, right? If you're walking down the street, you see this large storage facility, you don't think for 1 second that you can own it, right? Right. So I think for me, I made it a mission to just educate that it's really not about having a bunch of money or the great credit. It's about being able to creatively structure the deals the right way. Right. So I've purchased self-storage facilities with credit cards. Right? I've purchased self-storage facilities with insurance. Right. Okay. I've done it creatively. I've had one of my students who actually purchased a mailbox store for only $5,000 out of her pocket. Right?
Yeah, I saw that on your social handles. Only $5,000.
Only $5,000 out of her pocket. Wow. Right. Did a seller financing deal. So every day people can buy self-storage. This is what I love about it, right? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people see me and you like online, podcast, teaching. A lot of people want to get out there and sell a program or a course or do all the digital stuff, which you can, but it's extremely hard. Right. Not everybody have the ability to speak in front of a camera and know how to be charismatic and all of that stuff. It is a process. But for the everyday person, you can go buy a storage facility and you put systems in place and it will make you $10,000, $15,000 a month or more without you having to be there every single day. You don't have to live there, right? And manage it. No tenants, no trash, no toilets. It's a simple business.
Your expenses are low.
Yes.
Yes. Right? It's fair enough, right? Because when you're dealing with tenants, you mentioned like those phone calls 2 a.m. Those like something's not working. You have to have a handyman right on your belt clip, right? There's those things that have to happen with this. It's a simple process, right? You just got to inquire. Yeah. You just got to inquire. That's all you got to do, right?
So it's other steps to it. Is about just picking your battles. So I say this, right? Because every business has different, pros and cons, but I pick my battles, right? I remember getting calls at midnight and, the tenant's children is putting toys in the toilet. They breaking the cabinets, right? It's just like so many things that goes wrong when you have people living in the units. Then if they don't pay you, you got to go to court. Right. And now I remember I went through a court process for 2 years with a tenant. And finally, when the courts opened up, we were able to get them evicted. And then, we went and did the judgment, but they don't have nothing anyway. So it's like, you go and put a judgment, they don't have nothing. Right. So I lost 2 years of money. Then, and time. And then I got to go renovate the apartment and spend another $15,000, $20,000 to renovate it because you didn't put, it's destroyed, right? So now I'm really in the negative versus self-storage. If someone doesn't pay their rent, we put an overlock on their unit, which means they can't get in there in that unit, and now we schedule an auction. So now we do, you ever heard of Storage Wars?
No.
So Storage Wars is where somebody don't pay their rent for a storage unit, right? And then we're gonna put a lock on that unit and say, hey, if you don't pay us in the next 7 days, you're gonna be scheduled for an auction. We hire an auction company that comes out, and just like a regular auction, they'll come out and they'll put out an ad, and it's everyday people that go there and they bid on the unit. Oh, really? So you don't know what's in it. So we just open up the unit and you only can see the front. Right. It could be jewelry in there. It could be couches, TVs. You don't know what's in there. Right. But people go in and bid, and you may say, hey, you win the bid. And
a blind auction.
A blind auction.
Okay.
You bid, you may pay $500 for that unit, and you get whatever's in there. Right. So I've seen people that come in there and they get couches and they reflip the couches. Right. It may be different things that they'll take and make the money. However, for the owner of the facility, we have it's called lien laws, not eviction laws. So we put a lien on your unit, and out of the auction proceeds, we get paid that back rent and fees.
Wow. So so it opens up space while it can make someone else money. Hit or miss, but they're doing a blind auction, right? So to each his own. If they win, if they don't, you still have something, and then you still get your money in the back end.
Yeah, and actually the tenant, that is, or the customer that's renting out the unit,
Right.
whatever the overage is, they get that. So let's just break it down. For example, let's say I have a customer that rents out a unit and they owe me $250.
Right.
We have the storage company, a storage auction company, come out, and that unit bids for $750, right?
Okay.
So if someone pays $750, I'm gonna get my $250 that's owed to me. $500 is left.
Right.
That $500 goes to that customer.
To the customer.
So now
Okay.
they get extra money. The $750 that the person paid, they're just hoping that it's more in that unit.
Right.
That's worth more than that $750.
Right, because they can whatever that. Yeah, you're going into that and you're like, oh my god, okay, I got this. It's more than what I expected, so now I can make a little bit more.
Are you familiar with Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah, Channel.
So he went viral. Well, it was a viral post because he had like Louis Vuittons,
right,
red bottoms, jerseys.
Chad.
Yeah, inside of a storage unit. But someone else went to an auction and bid it on his unit. They didn't know it was his unit. They just did. They went through the process.
Okay.
Did a bid, and then when they got into the unit, it was a bunch of Chad Ochocinco's stuff from in Florida, right?
Yeah.
And,
they got the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got a bunch of stuff. And then he was he actually posted about it. He said, "Yeah, this is his stuff, but go keep it.
Yeah,
go keep it, stuff
okay.
like that." So you never know. You might get stuff like that.
But to keep in mind too, Chad is frugal, so he didn't care. Like he ain't spending money like that anyway. So whatever you saw. So you made out of it. That's what's up, man. Yeah. So can you go back to the strategy where you talk about using whole life and term life to use that strategy to get to the mailbox? Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because people are gonna say, "What do you mean insurance? Like, can you take money out?" People don't know you can do that. No. Can you break that down a little bit, brother?
Yeah. So wealthy people don't spend money. They move money, right? Put it in the right vehicles. I think most people don't understand. It's all about how you preserve your money and where you keep it.
Correct.
So insurance is one of the vehicles that I use to just preserve my money, right? Mm-hmm. So I utilize many like term, IULs, whole life, but I'll talk about the whole life in particular. So I actually got a whole life policy, right?
Right.
And with that whole life policy, I was able to go get a life equity line of credit against my cash value.
Against your cash value, you took out a line of credit.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So the line, they don't pull my credit or anything. It's just strictly based upon the
because it's securitized against the whole life insurance.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had about $200,000 in cash value, and I was able to get a line of credit for like $190,000, a little over $190,000, right? And I found the self-storage business, and I was able to negotiate with the seller for $450,000. Okay. And we end up doing seller financing. So the seller of the storage business, he held a note for $250,000 at a 5.75 interest rate. So the mortgage was about a little under $1,200, right? So $250,000 was the note that the seller carried. I had to come to the table with the $200,000.
Pretty much helped you.
There you go. So, with the $200,000, I was able to leverage
your whole life insurance.
The whole life,
right,
as the down payment on that storage business. Mm-hmm. And now I'm buying a storage business that's already bringing in money. So the money that the storage business is bringing in is paying the seller note, which is that mortgage of $1,200, and paying the minimum payment, towards the life equity line of credit. And then I also put in a mailbox store at that storage facility because we run our facilities remotely. So we leverage AI and different, new modern strategies where older mom and pop self-storage owners, they have someone sitting at the office all day on Facebook. They ain't really doing much, right?
Right.
So we get them out of the office, and then everything is remote and it's online.
Okay.
Because we have AI agents that answer the phones, do the billing and stuff like that. So with that additional 1,200 square feet, like office space, we put in a mailbox store. So we now make additional revenue, 2 businesses under one roof with one note.
With the help of AI.
With the help of AI.
This episode is brought to you by Pamela Lee from Elite Title Group, representing all real estate transactions in the state of New Jersey. So let's breaking it down, man. Let's bring it because somebody's gonna be nervous right now. Somebody's like, "What is it? Avatar?" No, dive into it, my brother.
No, cause sometimes we don't think this stuff is possible.
No,
right?
We don't.
Like it's foreign, which it is new, but to make it very simple, whole life insurance policy. You leverage the cash value in that whole life insurance policy, you get a line of credit, then you take that line of credit and then you invest it. The whole life policy, just to sit the money in there and the cash value as is, that's not getting its highest and best use. Mm-hmm. You want to leverage it And now you put it somewhere where there's already income. So a lot of people, they fall behind because they start businesses from scratch, right? And like starting something from zero is just extremely hard.
Right.
For me, I teach leverage. Leverage is, so I like to break it down in two ways, right? So we think about the word leverage. The first part of the word leverage is lever, right? When you think about a lever, it gives you a lift, pushes you forward, right? You get a push. Age is the time.
Correct.
So when you understand leverage together, you can compress time, right? I mean, I say becoming more effective in less time. Something that would have taken me 10 years to do, I could do it in 2. Something that's taken me 5 years to do, I can do it in 1, right? So when I understand leverage of my cash value, my money is working for me multiple times, because even when I get the line of credit against that cash value, it's still working for me. And now I take that money and buy a business leveraging somebody else's time and systems that they already put in. So this owner for this facility, he owned it for 20 plus years, already has customers, already has leases in place, already has money. So now I'm buying income that already exists with money that's working for me multiple times.
And it makes sense, right? Because sometimes we have these conversations. Sometimes entrepreneurs, they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Nah.
They just like, you know what? And even if they have kids, they're like, my kid doesn't want to deal with this. So they are, but through Sellers Finance, they're like, look, I'll give you the buy-in. They're helping you leverage. I just want to see how you perform. Once you use that cash value, and he's using whole life, you can also use your 401k if you have a 9 to 5. If you have a bucket where there's money and you're still putting money, because remember, your company's matching you, and there's enough access, you could take that money and now use that as leverage. Now you can do the same thing that Romel's talking about. You can do the same thing. It's the key word in all of this is leverage. It's how to use it responsibly to make sure you maximize the power of growth, right? That's all it's about, right? So that's when I saw you do something, I was like, yo, how's he doing that? And I'm like, the way you break it down, it's just that simple. I guess we have to get over the fact of fear.
We got it, fear.
When it comes to money and fear, it's a complex conversation and people just don't want to dive into it. So I'm happy that you're talking about this, because there is effective return behind it. You just got to trust the process. Trust is a challenge in our community, but I would ask you this: can you share a story where someone took the concept that you just mentioned and now is doing better with their lives?
Absolutely. I have tons of stories. So one of my students, she actually purchased a dry cleaners utilizing her IUL. She actually
what is an IUL? Because people don't know what that is.
Index Universal Life Insurance Policy. So she borrowed from her Index Universal Life Insurance Policy and utilized that capital to go buy a laundromat. And now the laundromat is bringing, I believe it's bringing like $8,000 a month, like net cash flow to her pockets. For $8,000. Yeah, to her pockets, right? It's all about leverage. And when you said fear, it's like, I really like that you said that, because people fear what they don't know.
Correct.
So if you know and you understand, that's why you need to be educated, right? If you see somebody having a class, or there's a way for you to learn it in a book, study it. You got so many, it's no shortage of information out here, right? So people just don't execute because they don't know. Once you know, then you have to go out there and do it. And I have students that, we offer partnership opportunities to invest in different storage facilities together. So I've had students who, been able to take money from their IULs, from their whole life insurance policies, leveraging it, and they would invest in projects together.
Right.
So now they're, again,
JVs and all that
there
stuff.
There we go.
Okay.
So for me, it's all about making sure your money work harder for you than you work for it. That's the blueprint to wealth. You can make sure your money's working for you more than you're working for it, then you put yourself in position to really, start really creating some freedom for yourself.
I love the fact you say position, because I'm going to dive into the fact that you just had a Vegas tour, man.
Oh, yeah.
You met some powerful people. I saw you with Omar, right? Yeah. He's got the video department with YouTube. And then you ran into Ryan with the Wealthy Way podcast. How was that experience like, man?
Phenomenal, man. Omar is amazing. Ryan is great. And it's something about like being around other great people that's doing different things at different levels. Like when I walked through Omar's studio, he got a full content studio, right? He's doing events and things like that. So he's now making his space dual purpose or multiple purposes, right? So he got the podcast. This is where we do events. We're gonna rent out some space for like content creators, everything all in one, So for me, it's truly about networking. Your environment will change you way before you change it. I think that's big. And we had the Inside Self Storage World Expo, which is a big event, massive event. If you are in self storage, everybody's like whoever's in self storage is at the Inside Self Storage World Expo. Okay. And I was able to bring like 15 of my students with me as well, and get them in the room and really expose them to the limitless possibilities of people that's really making money. And this is what I want to say this because I get passionate about it, right?
You should, man. You love it, man. It's what it is.
It's so much money to be made out here.
Right.
And we focus on like the shiny things, the glitz, the glamour. Right. We want the things that look good, right? But it's so much money in boring businesses that people don't think about. Right. I was talking to somebody at the Self Storage Expo, and he told me how one of his partners sold his traffic cone company for $400 million. You know the yellow.
Yeah, that's what I'm repeating again. Yeah,
he has a traffic cone company that he provides traffic cones to other platforms.
The thing that kids run over.
Yes.
The things that we make for $500.
Yes. He sold it for $400 million.
Wow.
Everyday business. You get what I'm saying? Like, so when I hear that stuff, it's like, man, like when you online trying to figure out how I could make money in your YouTube, and you want to put together things that's going to be starting from zero, buy something that is already existing. Right. You scale that thing and you sell it, and you keep duplicating that process.
Wow, I met Omar. So he's with Neil Dungra, because Forward event. Because I'll go out to Vegas, and Neil has a Forward event, and him and Neil, they both share. I met Neil through Forward and his brother Arjun, and that's when I was able to see the whole thing they had going on with the facility that they have in Vegas with the video department, all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm just like, anytime you go to Vegas, I feel like you always come back with nuggets. You always come back with nuggets because. There is the Strip, of course, but there are some powerful people in Vegas teaching one how to make money. You just got to be able to understand and be consistent with following up with what they're talking about when it comes to their teaching. So I knew when you were there, you're sitting there, now you're sitting on Let's Talk About It. I feel honored, man, because this is a good feeling. Like, I got the goosebumps right now, right? You meeting some powerful people, now you're coming on Let's Talk About it. I'm like, okay, I feel like I've made it now being around you. And now absolutely. All I can do is X to that power of growing brands and bringing others people around me. So yeah, man, I when I saw you come out of Vegas, you did that whole real thing. I was like, yeah, my man is enjoying every minute of it, man.
You know what I want to say? Because we don't lack money or strategy, right? Most people. It's really the confidence level and the awareness and the access. So I was reminiscing. I was talking to my brother while we was in Vegas, and we said we remember 10 years ago we was in Vegas, but we was in the casinos and we was moving around.
That's why I said the Strip. That's why I mentioned
the bars and the strips, right? But
right.
now 10 years later, we in Vegas and we with billionaires, right? And it's everybody all in this one pot, but you would never know that there's another room over here of people that's really closing multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar deals right next to people that's at the casino gambling, hoping they could make a couple dollars. It's like
right.
It's just right. It's happening right under your nose.
Right. To that point, I'm like, wow, just the power of Vegas. That's why I said, when we went to Vegas, it was for a different situation. Now we go to Vegas to empower our wallets and relationships. It's amazing, man. I love the fact that you shared that. So you went from Vegas and then you hopped on this powerful podcast, The Social Proof with David Shantz, right?
Yeah, shout out to David.
Shout out to David, man. He's very thoughtful, and when he speaks about certain things, because he's deep into his financial literacy, right? And he always wants to question things because I guess he comes from a space he's seen a lot of fake people. Yeah. And what was that experience like being on his podcast, man?
I've been on Shan's podcast 3 times.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But regardless, it's always the same way. He's going to ask the question. He's a true interviewer in journalism.
Yes.
He's going to ask the question that the people want. He's not going to ask the question just because he wants. He's going to ask what they want to hear, right? Regardless, right? And the truth is, we don't know what's real, what's fake anymore, right? And we have to ask the question. And that's why I love going on that platform. So we had a debate essentially, right? And
a healthy debate.
A healthy debate, right? Which was great for the culture.
Right.
Because everybody in the comments, they had their different opinions.
Yes,
I'm siding with them. I'm siding with them. We all side together. At the end of the day, it's all about education. But one of my business partners, Smitty the GOAT.
Yeah.
He put out a post and said that buying real estate is dumb. Or buying a single family home is dumb.
Right.
And I never agreed with buying a single family home is dumb. He never agreed. He never meant that either. What he was saying was, if you have two people, person A, person B, person A saved up $100,000 over the last 10 years, just working, putting their hard-earned money into a savings, and they have $100,000. Person B also did the same thing and have $100,000. If person A goes and puts their money into a single family home as a down payment at full $100,000, that is a bad decision because you're tying up $100,000 into the single family residence that now you have to maintain and keep up with the payments and the bills and the maintenance of that.
Right.
And I looked it up online. 70% of homeowners don't even have $10,000 cash in their bank account. So now you put your life savings into a down payment, and if anything goes wrong, if you get sick, you lose your job, a pipe burst, anything happen,
that money's tied into that house.
It's tied into the house.
You can't get it out. Right.
So that's not the smartest move that we would recommend. Well, we would say is person B, if you have $100,000, I would say go and buy a business with that $100,000. $100,000 down on an SBA loan, you can buy $1 million self-storage business that'll bring you $15,000 a month cash flow that is working for you with systems and everything already in place. Do that first.
Right.
And then do that 5 more times for 5 more years. And then you can go buy the single family outright if you want, or now put 30% down and you have more cash flow.
Right.
Matter of fact, go do the all-in-one loan.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. Use the all-in-one loan.
Now you're in a position because you have a business that's cash flowing. Now you can put more down. You have access to your capital. You don't have it tied up into a property and waiting for appreciation. So that is our context. Yes, buy a home responsibly when you can afford it.
Right.
That is the entire that's the message. Right
It went viral, man. It went viral. Yeah. So I guess then one of the questions was asked in that concept. He was like, "Is a primary house an asset?"
So what I'm going to say is this.
Yeah, we want to talk about that one.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that it is an asset.
Well, shelter.
Yes.
Right?
You got to pay. You got to
pay rent, right?
Exactly.
I saw the comments on it. I was like, hold on. If I go down this rabbit hole, I can spend all day going to comments. I can't close loans. I'm a lender. I need to close loans, so I'm not going to touch that space. But I saw some of it. I just didn't understand where they're coming from. I'm like, well, that's their perspective, right? I'm not going to challenge it. Yeah. But that question came up. I was like, everybody was quiet. I was like, what you should call it? And that was cool.
Yeah, I was quiet because I wanted to see what Shan and Tarek was going to say, because they was like, their position was buy a single family home, buy a single family home. Right. I believe buying a single family home is a great thing to do because you want to actually have this asset that grows in value over time, because when you pay rent, you don't get that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, we don't need to emotionally buy just because we want to say we own. It's okay to rent until you have enough financial stability to be able to buy it the right way. That's what I did, right? I rented while I was buying businesses, buying properties. I didn't own my own home. I was renting. And then when I did buy a home, it was a duplex. Well, I had one tenant paying the mortgage, and I did that for another 7 years. And then I bought my personal home with the all-in-one.
Part of the problem is, Ramel, we were conditioned, you need to buy a house. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And some of us forgot, like, not everybody's in a position to buy a house. But they were saying, look, you got to buy a house because you need a place to live. You need to But if you're not making enough to barely make the mortgage payment, let alone the liabilities that come with the house, how are you going to get ahead if you're always running behind?
Yes.
So that's when that topic came up. I was like, man, how are they going to answer this question? I kept looking, but to your point, right? If you have excess amount of dollars and you know there's going to be a cash flow, why not invest in the business and then be patient with that process, because you know your buying in that business, right? Now you got to be consistent. When you see the cash flow coming, now to your point, now you can buy the house that you're looking for because you have different avenues where it can help make your mortgage payments.
Absolutely.
I love that topic. It was a good topic.
It was a really good topic. And I want to say this because I've seen a lot of people asking in the comments like, oh, well, if you're telling somebody to buy a business, they don't know how to buy, they don't know how to, operate a business and things like, it's with anything. You have to have education, but this is something that you can do. We do this with all of our purchases. We have it inside of our purchase sales agreement where we get a coaching period. So whenever we buy a business from an existing business owner, they will have to stick around for 30 to 90 days coaching part of the process.
Okay.
So now you
keeping that accountability there.
It's like you basically get in the entrepreneurship game with training wheels on.
Right.
I'm buying a business that already has systems, already money hitting the bank account and processes, and to have the person that I bought it from coaching me through the process. I would rather take that risk than me tying up my money into a single family and then struggling to keep up the payments. No, just do it right in the right way, in the right time.
And you're speaking from experience, right?
Yeah.
Because you've seen these falls happen. So that's why you put these contingency things in place to help one have that mindset. Look, we got you. If you're thinking about falling, here, this is what we're gonna help. We want you to win. Yeah. And so that's what life is about, right? Showing you how to win and make return from your growth, right? Yeah. Whatever you put in. That was a good topic, man. I was going back. I want
to say this right because this is what sparked it. This is what sparked it. This entire year, I made a mission to be more like transparent, right? Because I felt I was accountable for showing the highlights because social media, that's what it is. Everybody show the highlights. Clickbait. Yeah, just the win of what you, the win. But what about the process? We always show the scoreboard, which is the points, but we don't show the locker room, which is the grit, the grind,
I like that,
the losses, the stress, right? So I said, okay, this year I want to show more of the locker room. So I put out the post saying that when I owned these 40 plus properties, I was still broke. That was me just being transparent so that people don't think you're gonna make all of this money just by buying properties. It's a process. And a lot of people love what I shared because they said, wow, I'm going through the exact same thing. I'm not making money. I'm not able to work through it, right? But if I look at social media, I think I'm doing something wrong. And it's like, no, it's a process. And this is where John Hope Bryant actually reposted it.
Went viral,
because he stamped what I said and said, hey, you buy real estate, not necessarily for the net cash flow, but for the equity, the long-term growth, holding it, preserving your wealth, the tax benefits, the depreciation, the appreciation. And yes, that is true, right? The misconception, at least that I fell into, is that I'll be able to live off of this income while I'm building this portfolio. And no, you don't live off the income. You buy it with additional income that you have invested, and you let it work for you while you still have other streams of income and businesses that's actively generating you income. Yeah,
your equity's tied up. You don't have anything in it, right? You can't take money out. You can't do nothing out of it. The effect happens when you sell it. It doesn't happen while it's in it. While in it, you're dealing with expenses. Right. So that's the part that some don't understand.
And a little bit of cash flow, but not life changing cash flow.
It ain't changing. No. You're not getting a Range Rover.
Yeah. And then some people say in the comments,
you're not even getting a Honda Civic. Right?
Some people in the comments say, "Oh well, I'm living off of my 4 properties, and I paid the cash." And it's like, well, if you would have took that same however much you put down cash and bought. You could have bought 5 businesses, right? You could have bought 5 different mailbox stores, right? And it all depends on what is considered like
how you define how you define.
How do you feel your lifestyle?
Right.
Like what works for you? Like, for me personally, $5,000 a month, I can't live off of that. I can't live off of $10,000 a month.
My expenses are big. It's true.
So I guess it's to each his own. Some people may be able to live off of a few properties and making $5,000 a month. For me, that doesn't work for the lifestyle that I live and the things that I want to provide for my family and how I want to give back to the community.
Right. Speaking of that, I want to jump into this. You talked about it, and I love how you put it in. You said, blowing money fast, equity rich, but cash poor.
Yeah.
What in the world you mean by that, man?
Right. So equity rich is when on paper, net worth, you have the value, right? You have, equity, essentially net worth, but you don't have much in your bank account. Right? It's just not in the bank account. And I think a lot of people suffer from this. They are on paper rich, but in their bank account, they just don't have the cash.
Right.
And I was in that spot when it came specifically to my real estate portfolio. If I didn't have other businesses that I was making money in, I wouldn't be able to had the lifestyle that I had. That's just the truth. So, and it's normal. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's just that we need to be educated on diversifying and knowing that real estate is a long-term vehicle.
Right.
It's people that put money in there and you let it appreciate it, you let it grow, and then at the same time, you still, and that's why I love the all-in-one loan. Right. Because and we need to talk about it more, right? We need to keep doing this because the all-in-one loan, listen, if I'm a homeowner, right? And I'll go buy a home utilizing an all-in-one loan, if I have some type of emergency,
You can have
I can go pull that money out.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus someone else
trying to refinance it, going through the process, re-amortizing your mortgage when you don't have to, depending on what the rates are at.
Exactly.
You caught.
You're done.
The line of credit, it's right there. Access.
And
ACH.
let's just say your credit is not the best at the time. Let's just say you lose your job at the time.
Right.
You're definitely not gonna be able to refinance because you need those things in place.
Right.
If I lose my job or something happens, I still have access to
that line of credit.
The line of credit
Yeah.
that's attached to my home.
It's a beautiful thing, but the fact is when we are conditioned to know only fixed mortgage. And as long as we stay conditioned with that, guess who's gonna be making the money? Institutions that all handle all our financial needs. That's their purpose. That's the great thing about compound interest. It's in their benefit, not yours. To your point, cash flow can help pay down things quickly and give you access to cash. It's a beautiful thing. So, man, I want to talk about this, and you caught me with when you said it on social media. Ownership is a condition. What? I was sitting there, I was like, yo, wait, what?
Yeah.
Talk about that, brother.
Yeah. The truth is, like, we don't want to hear it. We don't like the truth hurts.
Yeah, it does.
It's like taboo. It's like when we sit down and talk about life insurance and how you're gonna die. I remember one time I was telling my aunt, hey, we're gonna get life insurance for you, stuff like that. Oh no, I don't need life insurance. I ain't gonna die no time. She was like, what? You're gonna die. Let's have the conversation.
That's how life works.
That's how it goes.
Right,
we need to just have the conversation. It's the same thing when it comes to ownership. It's conditional is what I meant.
Right.
Ownership is conditional because if you own a car and the minute you don't pay your car note, you're gone. It's gone.
Right.
If you own a car and you don't keep up with the registration, you can't drive on the road.
That's correct.
If you buy a house and if you don't pay your mortgage, it's over. If you don't pay your property taxes, it's over. If you don't pay your HOA fees, it's over.
Everything's getting auctioned.
HOA telling you what color door you could have, how many cars you got parked outside, if you could have a fence, but you own the house.
Right.
So really ownership is based upon meeting the conditions that they set for you.
This is true.
And if you don't meet those conditions, then you don't own it.
Right.
So for me, I'd rather do this, right? And we all heard the saying, own nothing, control everything.
Correct, right, yeah.
Just stop being emotional about it, be logical.
Right.
I don't need all the ownership. I want to control. So if I have this asset and I control what happens to it, I could pull the cash flow out of it.
It takes you to a whole different level, man.
It's just you got to think about it differently. And that's when I was talking about it. And people's upset, but it's just the truth.
I mean, people's emotions got involved.
Yeah. It is because so you said we've been sold and bought into this idea of yes, I own my home, and because we don't want to have somebody else tell us, hey, this is my apartment, right? When you rent an apartment, the landlord could tell you different things. Well, it's the same thing with the mortgage company, property tax, or HOA.
Yeah. So
it's okay. Just utilize it for your own benefit.
I make the case. You signed those documents. You told them to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Technically, you told them to do it, right? That's what closing means, right? It pretty much to your point. So let me ask you this, man. You spoke about this the other day, and me and my wife were going back and forth, and I love how you mentioned the fact that your ego will keep you broke.
Oh man. Oh man.
I want you to talk about that, man.
I
want you to talk about that.
Yeah, man. Ego is like really what's keeping everybody or most people at the bottom, because a lot of times we have more pride than money. Right. We may see somebody that's doing the great things online or whoever, right? Next door, we going outside, we see somebody doing something great. And instead of us asking, hey, how do you do this? How can you help me? We judge what they're doing. I don't like how this person talks. I don't like where this person goes. I don't like what they wear. No, we need to be humble enough to say, hey, Jimmy, can you put me onto the mortgage game? Can you show me how to make some money? I like how you set your family up and put them in a nice place. And I like all the great things you've done. Can you teach me the process?
Right.
Versus developing a narrative in my head about you, judging you because I just have ego and pride. That's all I really have. So we need to just really cut the ego, cut the pride, come together, have humility. And I've done that in my family. You know, we have what I call family legacy meetings. Right. So every single year we sit down and we talk about finances, right? And I bring my brother, my wife, my sister, my uncles, everybody, we bring them to the table and we do what is called a susu, right? African heritage tradition where we put up a certain amount of money every single month. So we start out with $200.
We do it in the Caribbean culture too. Right?
There you go. So $200 each person every single month, and then every month we take the money and we invest towards somebody else's financial development. So 1 month, that's how my brother actually got his financial services, life insurance license as a financial advisor, because we helped invest for him to go up and get those certifications and do the trainings and all the resources.
Right.
The next month, my dad, he actually got his private money certification where he brokers all of our deals, so he makes money, right? So we continuously control how we distribute the money every single month and develop skills for everybody in the family so we can actually build our own table versus begging for a seat at somebody else's table.
Your own bank.
We build our own bank. There
Love
we go.
it, man. I can't end this without mentioning your brother's keeper, Jamal. I'm happy you put me in rooms. That's how I met you. Coming from Brooklyn to see what we're doing now and the powerful impact when it comes to life and changing people's lives. I want to thank your brother on air, Jamal. Thank you for making this happen, because you did make it happen. And I thank you for you coming on today. Let's talk about it. So if people are looking for you, Ramel, where can they find you, man?
Absolutely. You can find me on all social media platforms, Mogul Lifestyle _. That's MOGULLIFESTYLE_ or you can type in Ramel New Worlds. Whatever one, just type it in. I'll pop up on all my social media platforms. And shout out to Mr. Brooklyn Business as well. Make sure y'all go follow him. He is the best when it comes to financial advising and getting you to the next level. So, but I thank you.
I appreciate your time, man. Everyone, if you're looking for financial advice, you're looking for nuggets on what life looks like when it comes to capitalism and mortgage needs, you can find me on your favorite streaming platforms. Ramel, thank you, man. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yes, sir.
If you're looking for ISAs and marketing, please contact J. Lopez Enterprise, servicing all 50 states. Hey, listeners, are you looking to improve your home comfort and save on your energy bills? Let's talk about Seal Power. They've been awarded Energy Star Sustained Excellence Award, seen on Good Morning America, the New York Times, and World News. Seal Power is dedicated to keeping your home cozy while saving you money. Check out their website for tips and incentives and more at CIELPOWER.com. Stay comfortable and save with Seal Power, where comfort meets efficiency. Follow them on Instagram for updates and more, and let's talk about it as well. Thank you.